So this incident took place on February 23rd. Um, the video, one of the video surveillance video we see is Ahmaud Arbery walking into an unfinished home. So the house is open, and you're just looking. There's video also of inside the house. He's looking around. He's just looking around, and then he leaves. And then he leaves the house. The same moment, Greg McMichael is in his front yard, and then he sees Ahmaud Arbery around the premises, and that's when the pursuit begins, right? So he calls Travis McMichael his son, and then now this is where the chase begins with Ahmaud Arbery as they're chasing. Well, for as they said during as Travis McMichael and Greg McMichael said in the police report, they started chasing him because, as I'm quoting here, they had a hunch that Ahmaud Arbery was responsible for a series of burglaries that had happened in a neighborhood previously. A police report says that the in the past months leading to this, to February 23rd, they only had like one break-in, and that was Travis McMichael's truck. Somebody stole one of his weapons, right? So they had a hunch that Ahmaud Arbery was the guy that they had also previously seen in this house, and explicitly, as Travis McMichael put it in the police report, he had no proof whatsoever. So this was on his hunch, and this is where the chase begins. They're like, okay, this is probably the guy that we've seen before on the premises. Let's go. So start chasing him, and as they're chasing him, they pass William Bryan's house. William Bryan is the guy that filmed the video of Ahmaud Arbery getting shot. They pass his house, and the report says that William Bryan screamed to the McMichaels. They're like, "You guys got him?" They screamed that, and that's when he then enters the chase. So throughout this whole chasing going on, Ahmaud Arbery is switching directions, forward, backward. The truck keeps following him, even to the point where one time he ran into a ditch to avoid getting caught by the McMichaels, and now William Bryan. On top of that, the recently we found out that they hit Ahmaud Arbery with their truck as well as the chase is happening. So they're going back and forth. And now you get to the final scene where Ahmaud Arbery is like the McMichaels put their truck, which I believe is on the right side of the lane. Travis McMichael gets out the truck, and he's holding his shotgun on the left side of the roadway. And now this is where you see the video. The video starts, and Ahmaud Arbery goes around the truck the other way, and then he encounters Travis McMichaels. They struggle for the gun. Ahmaud Arbery gets shot 3 times. Now there's two different grievances here that people are looking at. They're looking at the way the way the McMichaels and William Bryan chased Ahmaud Arbery, because you have to understand, like as I said, there's a case of about report on the report. There's like 4 times where Ahmaud Arbery was trying to run away, switching directions, running into a ditch. So this fourth time where they meet each other on the road, that's like kind of the final stand. That's where Ahmaud Arbery gets shot, right? So now there's that, but there's also now the way it was handled by the authorities in the immediate aftermath. So Ahmaud Arbery's mom, in an interview with The View, she said that the investigator in the case had told her that your son died in a attempted robbery when the homeowner confronted him. That's what they told the mom that had happened. The homeowner, which is Larry English, his name is Larry English, I believe. Homeowner was not there. The homeowner did not confront Ahmaud Arbery. So already there, the investigator lied to Ahmaud Arbery's mom. She was just there, and she accepted the story as it was because she didn't see a reason why the authorities would lie to her about this case. After that, and also just right before that, sorry, I forgot to say this. It was also, and it's an official statement made by the GBI officer, which is the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, right after Travis McMichael shot Ahmaud Arbery. He said and I'm quoting here, pardon for the profanity, but I'm quoting here, he called Ahmaud Arbery right before this was before the police arrived, right after he shot Ahmaud Arbery. So that's important to know. So as I said, now we're in the way the way it was handled in the immediate aftermath. As I said, the investigator told Ahmaud Arbery's mom a false story, and now the Brunswick District Attorney, which is Jackie Johnson, she recused herself of the case because Gregory McMichael had worked for years as an investigator. Um, Gregory McMichael was an investigator and also an ex-police officer. It's important to note that. Then after you have the DA George Barnhill, who also recused himself at the request of the Arbery's family in April, because it later came out that his son had worked alongside Gregory McMichael. Now the video that came out, the Ahmaud Arbery video that came out, uh, it came out almost February, almost 2 months after Ahmaud Arbery was killed. So in between those 2 months, this is what's happening behind the scene in terms of how they're handling the situation. There's no murder and there's no arrest being made, and it's important to note that after DA George Barnhill recused himself, he he released the reasoning why he recused himself, but he also released a statement stating he saw no probable cause of why the McMichaels should be arrested in this case, stating that they were doing a citizen's arrest and so on and so forth. The video releases May 5th, right? Third prosecutor Tom Durden is appointed on May 5th as the video gains national attention. 36 hours later, the McMichaels are arrested. The McMichaels are charged with murder and aggravated assault. And also, further on, the William Bryan, the guy who filmed the video, is charged with felony murder and criminal attempt to commit false imprisonment. So, looking at this case and the way it will be handled in the court of law is the McMichaels will most likely argue that they were committing a citizen's arrest and that there was and that they have a case for self-defense. So looking at Georgia's citizens arrest law, the only way you could lawfully make a citizen's arrest is if you have immediate knowledge or immediate knowledge, or you have seen a person committing a felony, right? So without those two factors, you can't commit a citizen's arrest, right? So Georgia's citizen's arrest law states that a private citizen can detain someone if they have reasonable and probable grounds of suspicion. Georgia has had this law in this book since 1863. Now, as I said before, Travis McMichael said that he didn't have in the police report. He said he has no proof, and this was based on a hunch. This is why they chased Ahmaud Arbery. Now, self-defense. Self-defense is also one thing that will be used because as they're struggling with the gun with Ahmaud Arbery and Travis McMichael is just struggling. They're struggling for the gun. Then Travis McMichael shoots Ahmaud Arbery. He will use self-defense because he will say in that moment he was defending himself. If he didn't shoot Ahmaud Arbery, he would have died. But there's a thing here about self-defense that will be argued by the prosecutor is whether you can use self-defense if you have initiated the contact, right? So, as I said before, there's almost four instances where Ahmaud Arbery was trying to run away. He's not the one that initiated. He's running away a few times, and on top of that, they hit him with the truck. And that's where you get to the last stand on that road where they're struggling for the gun. So prosecutor will probably argue that at this moment he thinks he's already dying. So now he's just trying to save his own life. So this is what that will probably be argued in the court of law. And yeah, this basically is a rundown of the Ahmaud Arbery case.
Man, that's
thoughts from both from I guess Jermaine first.
Jermaine,
or
you can
Abel,
go ahead.
or Abel, yeah.
Yeah, but okay, go ahead.
Yeah, no, the facts that you states, like, they're all true. But the thing is, like you said, first of all, how do you claim self-defense when you're the one that initiates the contact? Second of all, even because what they're accusing us, they said apparently, he was out there doing robberies or whatever. But the video shows where he goes in, at most, if it was a charge, it would be a trespass. And trespassing is a misdemeanor charge. So if the law says you can only detain someone upon a felony, and at most, what he did is a misdemeanor, so then normally the whatever statute that they want to use, whether it be self-defense or whether it be citizens arrest, should be thrown out the case. I mean, should be thrown out the court because, like you said, the criteria were not met whatsoever. You know, and it's really really messed up. Like the part that infuriates people the most is this: if that video did not come out, nothing would have happened. If that video did not leak, nothing would have happened. And not only that is the fact that he was protected because he knew the people who were responsible for trialing him, and they sided with them because they knew him. No, that really infuriated people. Like this is literally corruption. When we talk about corruption in the system, corruption in the police department, that is exactly it. You're gonna put your personal relationships ahead to protect someone who has just committed a murder. And not only that, the man committed the murder. They videotape it. They send it all over social media. It was on Snapchat and whatever. They're bragging about the fact that they killed the man, and you're aware of that, and you still don't want to trial the man. Like that's really infuriating. You know, it's almost as if like black people like regardless, because you have people that are like, oh yeah, the law system, blah blah blah, the justice system is equal. These are the examples that show that the justice system is not even a justice system. It's an injustice system. You have all the proof that you need. You don't want to do the proper investigation because you have a personal connection with the person, and you let him walk free for 2 months. And if it was not for that video leaking out, they would still be free man.
Yeah,
No,
man,
that's
for
really
sure.
messed up.
And when people talk about the corruption in police departments or in institutions, when there are claims about institutional racism or systemic racism, I think it is sometimes hard for people to grapple what this means, and these are quite like clear-cut examples, of which shows that the police department here and the justice system here, was initially like the way they initially dealt with the case was corrupt, and later on in the episode we're going to address corruption and systemic racism, in police departments. But like for me in this case, and this is the point you made, Jermaine, is how these videos, if there weren't these videos, how like you know these cases would just be shoved under the rug, because if that video didn't leak, and if we people couldn't get a hold of this video, nobody would have known. They would have, as you mentioned, Ivan, they already had lied to his mother. So imagine what happens when there's no video, and those are the majority of cases, right? So, and the same thing here also happens in the George Floyd killing. I'll get into that shortly, but I just want to ask you, Ivan, could you like talk a little bit more about like the ways the video came into the public light? Like, do you have any information about that? Because as I told you, as we were discussing last night, I told you I was a little bit confused about how uh, the guy who filmed this was involved, because he was basically arrested, and I was wondering how he was involved in the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically the guy from the video, his name is William Bryan. So I'm assuming he lives in the neighborhood, obviously, because they had passed, as they're chasing Ahmaud Arbery, they passed William Bryan's house, right? You could see there's a security camera that I believe is taken from William Bryan's house, and you can see them passing the house, and you see William Bryan's truck in his driveway, right? And that's when William Bryan engages in the pursuit as well, right? So that's where William Bryan comes in, and he's filming the encounter. Important to note, the police had that video originally as soon as the murder was committed, and then they were doing their investigation. They already had that video. They had it. So that video wasn't released to the public until later, which the lawyer, William Bryan's lawyer, who might be the worst lawyer I've seen this past decade, he said that they released it because they wanted to be transparent and show and show what happened. And the case they're laying for themselves is that William Bryan was simply a witness, and he did not take part. He did not take part in the chasing down Ahmaud Arbery or anything like that. And they're standing on their ground is that, look, we released this video for all you guys to see, so you guys could see what really happened during this case. So this is the position now they're taking. They're dissociating themselves from the McMichaels. So that's where we are right now. And as I said, William Bryan was charged with attempted to commit false imprisonment and also the murder of Ahmaud Arbery. So this is where we are right now.
Yeah, and plus the thing that's more messed up is, like, there was a white preacher who did the exact same thing as Ahmaud Arbery, except like he was jogging with the television set on his shoulder, ran down the neighborhood, and nothing happened. Like, no white person came out to confront him. Like, what was that? But like when the black man's out there jogging, like he gets hunted like a straight like an antelope pretty much, gets hunted as if it's a sport. And these guys have the audacity to post it all over social media, brag about it, they're happy. And the thing that's also like one of the things you pointed up, which is messed up, is I believe when I was watching the media reports is the police wanted to make the arrest initially, but the DA stepped in and told them not to make the arrest. And it's like, what?
That's a great point you brought up, because that's what has been reported, that the two Glenn County commissioners had told the DA Johnson, the original DA who recused herself, that we should make an arrest, but she said they shouldn't make the arrest. DA Johnson has declined that ever happened, but obviously now it's a matter of who do you believe, because I'm not sure how they can prove either or. But what we know as a fact is that nobody was arrested for 2 months, so that we know as a fact. And as you guys both brought up perfectly, it's like I really, really, really wonder if there was not if there was no video, but if the video had never come out, where would we be today? Would anybody be arrested? Would we even be on track to have some type of justice? And yesterday, the judge deemed that there was enough evidence to move forward with this case, so now it's going to move forward. But yeah, those are all valid questions. And originally when this story came out, people were already saying, this is one other case of a black man getting shot. These guys are basically moving like vigilantes, chasing down a black man. And the race element was originally brought up by like almost everybody, but now we have a confirmation that after Travis McMichael shot Ahmaud Arbery, he called him. So you can clearly see that this is a clear evidence of racism. And even to William Bryan, the GBI officer said that, because now it's the GBI that's handling this case after Tom Durden, the third prosecutor, moved it to them. The GBI officer said there's also evidence of William Bryan having racist conversations and etc. They have evidence of that as well. So we have to ask ourselves about, ultimately, racism played the ultimate factor in why Ahmaud Arbery was killed.
And not only that, but ask yourself, how many of these sort of cases are out there where there's no video? That's a question. Like, for every one, like, Ahmaud Arbery type of case, how many hundreds, if not thousands of videos, how many hundreds, if not thousands of cases go untried due to the fact that there's not a video when similar things happen, you know? So that's really a question that we've been asking ourselves. It's like, for instance, if you look at, like, for instance, that Central Park lady, what she did. Well, how many times that has happened to black men where they've been falsely accused of stuff and, you know, they were actually tried and arrested. Like, they have a record due to the fact of false accusation.